We're going to stay in an era and a zone. Christmas Eve. We do this each and every year. This right here.
You hear that knock?
Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, man. As y'all listen to the annual thing we do each and every year, that's right. You got Funk Flex for the wheels of steel, Chuck Chillout, Bugsy, and this is Hot 97. Happy holidays.
Now there was just one day that I will never forget. I got jailed for something that I'll always regret. It was 12 o'clock midnight and I wanted to snack, so I headed downstairs, thought the fridge was packed. But when I opened the door, what did I see? The back of the fridge staring right at me. I thought to myself, I could almost die. Then an image appeared, a pizza pie. So I put on the Adidas, headed out the door, as I pictured myself eating more and more. But the store was closed, I busted into a rage. So I went to the crib and got the 12 gauge, ran back to the shop, busted down the door, and all I saw was pizza galore. So I stuffed my face, I couldn't even walk, couldn't laugh, smile, shake, giggle, wiggle, and talk. So I fell asleep with my face in my plate, and the next thing you know, I was headed upstate.
In jail, without the bed. In jail, we're in jail because we're fed. In jail, without the bed. In jail, we're in jail.
1, 2, 3, 4, hit it! 1, 2,
AJ Scratch,
3, 4.
DJ for Curtis Blow, R.I.P. son.
1, 2, 3, 4, hit it!
Up in the booth with the people of Fresh, there was one DJ who had to pass the test, and now he's down below and he's ready to play. That's right, y'all, his name is AJ. Never gets nervous when he cuts the beat. He gives top-notch service in the clutch on the street. A complete elite treat that can't be beat, cause AJ never knew the agony of defeat. Sing! AJ, wanna see you. AJ, wanna see you. AJ, wanna see you.
Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the
Hold
house...
it now, wait, hold it. That's played out. Hit it.
40 years.
Don't you give me all that jive about things you wrote before I was alive. Cause this ain't 1823, ain't even 1970. Now I'm the guy named Curtis Blow, and Christmas is one thing I know. So every year, just about this time, I celebrate it with a rhyme. Gonna shake it, gonna bake it, gonna make it good. Gonna rock, shock, rock it through your neighborhood. Gonna read, gonna sing it till it's understood. My rapping about to happen like a knee you been slapping, or I throw you been tapping on a hunk of wood. Bought a red suited dude with a friendly attitude and a slave full of goodies for the people on the block. Got a long white beard, maybe looks kinda weird, and if you ever see him, he can give you quite a shock. Now people, let me tell you about last year when the dude came flying over here. Well, the hawk was out, snow was on the ground. Folks stayed in to party down. The beat was thumping on the box, and I was dancing in my socks. And the drummer played at a solid pace, and the taste of the bass was in my face. And the guitar player laid down the heavy layer of the funky junky rhythm of the disco beat. And the guy with the 88 started to participate, and I could sure appreciate a sound so sweet. We were all in the mood, so we had a little food and a joke and a smoke and a little bit of wine. When I thought I heard a hoop on the top of the roof, could it be it wasn't me? I was feeling super fine, so I went to the attic where I thought I heard the static on the chance that the fans was somebody breaking in. But the noise on the top was a reindeer clock, just a trick, same thing, and I let the sucker in. chin chin. He allowed, he was proud of the hairy little crowd on the point of his jaw where the skin should have been. Gets cool for a fool, going out every you for a day on the same when the cold winds blow. So the beer may be weird, but I'll never have a cheer, cause it's warm in the storm when it's 10 below. I said, yo, God, it's cold tonight, so can you stop for a drop before you go? He said, why not? If the music's hot and I'll chance a dance beneath the mistletoe. So he went downstairs and forgot his scams, and he rocked the spot and danced like a pro. And every young girl tried to rock his world, but he booked the yogi till he had to go. And before he went, this fine old gent bought a gift with a sip to his big red bag. In the top or the bottom, he reached in and got him toy for the boys for the girls' glad rags. And the grown-ups got some presents too. A new TV and a stereo. A new Seville, about as blue as the sky. The best that money couldn't buy, cause money could never ever buy the feeling. The one that comes from not concealing the way you feel about your friends. And this is how the story ends. The dude in red's back at the pole up north where everything is cold. But if he were right here tonight, he'd say Merry Christmas, and to all, a good night.
Well, I'm terribly sorry. I don't know what you mean. What did you say your name was?
I see that it's not clear for you good buddies to clean out your ears. Listen very close while I pop more game, cause my name's in the Hall of Fame. The K-U-R, the T-I-S, the first is the best, I must confess. The B-L-O and the W, I make you wanna catch the boogaloo flu. Now if your name is Annie, get up off your vanity. If your name is Todd, get off your backside. If your name is Pete, you don't need a seat, cause I'm Curtis Blow and I'm on the go. I'm rocking to the rhythms in stereo. Now just throw your hands in the air and raise one like you just don't care. If you're ready like Freddie to rock real steady, somebody say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh young ladies, all ladies in the house say ow. And you don't stop, come on, come on, come on. Let me see you.
How y'all feel out there?
Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Check this out. 1, 2, 3. In the place to be, as it is plain to see. He is DJ Run, and I am DMC. Funky Fresh for 1983. DJ Jam Master J. Inside the place with all the bass. He leaves without a trace. And he came here tonight to get on your case. And we are the crush grooving, the body moving, the record making, and the record breaking. And it goes a little something like this. It goes a 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 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 DMC and DJ Run. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. We're rocking on the mic and then you know where we're from. Dum diddy dum dum. We hope y'all ready for the big beat drum. Drum diddy drum drum. So people in the place in the big beat come. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come. Come on everybody, let's all get down. What we have is a brand new sound. So nobody out there be misled. We make up all these rhymes inside our head. The other MCs cannot compete. When we rap on the mic to this big beat. The beat is big, it's kind of large. And when we're on the mic, we're in charge.
It's like that, y'all.
That y'all.
Like that, y'all.
That y'all.
Like that other back. I like that, y'all.
That y'all.
Cool G brother. I don't drink further, but keep a bag of cheaper inside my life. I go to school every day. On the stomach to pay. Cause I'm rocking on the mic until the break of day.
And now the things I do make me a star. And you can be too if you know who you are. Just put your mind to it, you go real far. And the next thing you know, you have a big star.
Listen to the beat. What I say because it's not routine. It's the way I play. Just come out my mouth all time of the day. And then most of the time, you're Master J.
Hey, they used to call me Easy D because I rapped on the mic so easily. But now they call me DMC. He's DMC of the party. The D's for doing it all of the time. M is for the rhyme, that all the rhyme. C's for cool as can be.
And why you wear those glasses?
So I can see it.
So deep rhymes galore. Rhymes that you never even heard before. Now if you say you heard my rhyme, we gonna have to fight. Cause I just made the motherfucker night. Kick off your shoes, relax your feet. Party on down
super rhyme maker.
I get deaf as the others get flaky. It's me, DMC,
In the place to be.
and I still got the same old harmony.
Oh.
Hot 97, everybody. As you still riding along with the sounds of my boys, the kings and queens. Run DMC.
Well, I heard the first and I'm number one. Not the best, not the worst, cause the name is Run.
And I'm second cause a record that you want to see. An MC
Like D.
decide to play to me.
And have you heard that he is third and his name is Jay? I run the A to the Deuce and J. Trey.
Hey, this is the Chuck Chillout record, the 98.7 Kiss FM days, y'all, for real.
Bruh.
Chuck was playing this joint every week nonstop.
It was hard, son. Come on.
Wait, change the train. Yo.
Yo, man.
hard.
Hey, yo, Chuck turned me on to this song 'cause I wasn't even feeling this in the
that record
beginning.
was hard,
Chuck
son.
played it so much, I was like, yo,
You
it
know-
became my favorite
You
joint.
know what
on
it was
cassette
about
to
this
whip.
song? It
really
didn't
was
work
hard.
in the club.
Hard.
But on that radio, and you're in that
it was
car.
so loud
was hard.
and nasty,
Yeah, hard, right,
and
right.
DMC and Rev Run. killed it.
Yo. You can tell when Chuck, listen, New York,
Yo, stupid.
when Chuck was anxious with a record, right? You could hear, like, there's so many key things that just on back of it, just equipment, when you just talk about the equipment. But, you know, Chuck already rubbing the record before the words come in, throwing it in before he even want to get the next song out. So the Daryl and Joe is coming in 8 times before it really comes in. The instrumental, the word part.
And then Chuck, with those big bare hands, start rubbing that joint hard.
No,
God.
I want to paint a picture for you.
Lovely.
Go far.
For DJs or for people.
Come on,
Kiss FM was a legendary radio studio on 1440 on Broadway. And it used to have an area where there was a waiting area. And where the waiting area was and the actual air studio was just down a very long hall. It was very long
And narrow.
and narrow. But if the secretary stopped you, you could still see Chuck and Red mixing and throwing their records around from the far in
Yeah,
the
because
room.
there was no setup. We had the turntable on the side of the board in the
Had to
setup.
bring out the DJ coffin out from
Right.
one studio to
Right,
go
so
ahead
you
and
can see them
plug
right
it
there
in.
on the side.
So at me being a DJ and being able to see like their backs pause and their elbow and they're flicking the records back and forth was an amazing treat to see because it was seeing the DJ element in its you know that millions of people are listening to them and but you could see the
people,
mixing.
It was like seeing the Wizard of Oz. If you hip to that story, you see the DJ doing this thing. It's like the curtain comes back and you see the Wizard of Oz. Because now you see how the magic is happening.
And Bugs, when I did eventually, I got to fill in for Chuck one night.
Yeah, a couple
nights. And I always criticized Chuck. I would always say, but Chuck, why don't you? He'd ignore me. He wouldn't yell at me, but he would ignore me.
Well, here we go again with your selective amnesia.
Because
no one ignored you, son.
Let him make his point.
Wait.
Chuck.
No, because he always comes up.
Let him make his
He
point,
always
Chuck.
comes up with his crazy
But if you
stories
let him-
that
if you let him
no
make
one
his-
knows but
If
him.
you let him make his
Wait,
point,
wait,
you see where he's
wait,
going
wait.
with this.
This is
Let
what
him
it
go.
was.
Oh man.
Chuck was always open to me asking a bunch of questions. He would selectively answer, but I respected. He's busy. I get it. So now I'm filling in Bugs and my first time I ever got on the radio in New York. I think I want to paint the picture right. Jeff Fox was the jock, and Jeff Fox had told, I don't know if it was Tony Gray or Barry Mayo at the time, that one of Chuck's friends are here. You could let him play. And rest in peace, John Robinson was on his way down.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to John Robinson.
John Robbins, big house DJ in New York.
Very big house DJ.
98.7 Kiss FM and BLS.
Rest in peace to him and shout to his family. So I get my first chance on the radio in New York. And, I learned something. I had a millennial learning experience. So this light comes on, the on-air light, and I freeze. I freeze and I just let the record
Even after
play.
you played the BLA, although
No,
you played
remember,
the BLS,
Kiss was before. This is before BLS.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
This is
That's
before
right,
I work
That's
in-
right. That's right.
This is
that's
before
right.
Mike Love fires me.
Yeah.
It's-
Easy, man.
Wow.
Easy, man. Easy, man. Yo, he always does that, man. Come on.
This is before Mike Love fired
Come
me.
on.
Listen, they fired New York. They
We
fired.
all been fired about 8, 9 times.
You ain't
Listen.
lived till you've been fired
Word.
in this game.
Listen, they fired me in New York, and they bought Kid Capri, Dr. Dre, Ed Lover, Silver D, and a few other people. I just want to let you know who they brought. I just want you to have a understanding of where
Shouts
we
to
are in
Silver D,
2020.
man. Wow.
Yo, he's
Anyway,
crazy.
I was going to say something too. We're going to let it ride. Go ahead.
He's
So-
nuts, man.
So in telling this story in New York that I'm telling about the radio, so I got my first opportunity, I freeze. And Chuck, I don't know if I ever told you, I really appreciated Chuck's sense of playing music. Because I get back to the neighborhood and I think I rocked it. So I see Tito and I see Derek. And they said, we didn't really like it. And I said,
really?
I said, well, what did I do wrong? You picked the records you like. You didn't pick the records the people liked. And I always took that criticism. This is 1988, and I took that criticism. I understood it. Play for the people, and I learned a lot that day. It was very interesting. But we're getting back. Chuck, I'm gonna cut this record like you used to cut it. I know how.
Yeah, okay. All right,
So this record, when we reminisce, this is a record Chuck used to play for 20 minutes. I lie to you not.
Really?
I lie to you not.
Record was hard.
Lie
The
to
record
you
was hard,
not.
son.
20 minutes.
Record, I still do it like that. Didn't you mix that song?
I used to mix it that way.
But no, but you mixed it for the album, right?
Yeah, I mixed this down.
Record was hard, son.
Battle over Jam Master Jay.
That record was
Rest in
hard,
peace.
son.
Yeah,
Jay's the trade. I heard for the first and I'm number one. Not the best, not the worst, cause the name is Ron. And I'm second cause the record that you want to see. An MC like D. It's not the place to be. And have you heard that he is third and his name is Jay? I run the A, T, the Deuce, and Jay's the trade.
Hot 97, everybody. Say what?
Jay's the trade. Jay's the trade. Jay's the trade. Well, the rap up again, this the year of the rap. And I'm never drinking beer, champagne in the tap. And I'm cold making money on the rack. Try out masters of the MC. Try around the world with my mind at ease. No clout around the world with my mind at ease. No clout around the world with my mind at ease. No Calvin Klein, just wearing leaves. Got credit in countries I've never been. Cause the records I write are in the top 10. Top of the chart is where I stay, but I also chill around the way. In Holland, Queens is where I start. On the streets with the beat is where I walk. When I perform any hearts I want, I'm better known as the quiet storm. I don't talk too much, but I got beef. When I kill MCs, I cause grief. Devastating my control is my main goal. My name is Daryl and his name is Joe. The master of music, his name is Jay. Leave us alone and let us play. We give it
Go for yours.
We're not
Go
like
for
that.
yours.
All mothers do. Sucker MCs like punks who are picking flowers.
Go for yours. We went for hours.
Go for yours. We wait for hours. Go for
Word,
yours.
word.
We wait for hours. Go for yours. We wait for hours. Go for yours. We wait for hours.
Crazy. B-boy heaven.
Do you consider this one of the hardest ones they made?
Oh, man. I used to lose. Yo, that record was hard, son. And you hear it up real loud, too? It was crazy.
Start at 3 and at 6. Jam Master Jay is on the mix. For all the young ladies and all the chicks, we got all of the girls. On our tips, don't buy gold lighters. Only bigs, rock on microphones. Just kicks. Sucker MCs, I will be stuffing. And my pocket, I'll keep on.
Hey, hey, hey.
When I say I'll
You
be
missing
up,
it.
I won't be bluffing. They can't beef 'cause that ain't
Nothing.
But it don't matter.
What?
My pocket gets fatter.
What?
I got more hacks than the Mad Hatter. I'm a rap with the mic, drop caddy, not a fight. Chuck a rhyme in your face, and you damn your life. These are empty with the rhyme, no date, and the time never ever go low. For the only climb. It's just a DJ with the cut. Move your arm and your butt, so D take the mic. Say what? I will not stop, I will not quit. Because some at the top, but I'm on the tip. That's as high on the top as you can get. In your best
We on it.
So before you decide to try me out, I'm gonna let you all know what I'm all about. I'm a fresh MC who's on his way to being the MC with the most to say. And to all those out there that don't know me, I go by the name
Of
TNC.
Come on.
I will MC, the master of a ceremony, cause it's easy to deed. Control of the mic is so devastated. Control of the mic is so devastated. That all of the mic is so devastated. Control of the mic is so devastated that all other rappers you will soon be hating. No matter what race,
Creed or color.
when we perform,
Things gon' get dollar.
get down,
There you go. There you go. Get dollar. Yep. Yep.
get down,
Crazy.
get down.
That's Chuck all the way. That's Chuck all the way.
That record was hard. That record was hard, son.
So New York,
That record was hard.
I wanna paint the picture of New York
Record
City
was
this
hard.
time, because I experienced it in two places with Red and Chuck. So people like Houdini, Run DMC, they all come to Chuck's basement. Come to the block. So it's so crazy to see people, on the block, but you stay in your little distance.
from the video,
I'm not gonna
right?
say what they was doing in the house. That's none of my business.
Well,
Party people.
I love it.
Stupid.
They in there.
Oh,
So this is. I'm talking.
Yo, you
wait,
stupid.
wait, Grandmaster D. I'm gonna blow me up.
Yo, you stupid. Yo, you stupid.
Jay, Curtis. Because Chuck's young, but he got a basement to himself. So now, I want to describe the radio station now when Latin Quarter, Red Alert's on his way to the club. Now this is Chuck too, but I think I might have caught Reds a little bit more. You see 20, 30 cars, New York, in front of when these guys is at the radio
Get ready to
station.
go hang out.
It's so nuts.
Everybody wanted to be
It's
there.
so New York. There was no question after being around these two guys what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a DJ. I didn't just want to be a DJ. I needed the whole thing. I wanted the clubs. I wanted the radio. I wanted everything that went with it. So the people like
A lot of chicks
Grown
out,
rappers,
lot of
grown-
chicks, lot of chicks out there too.
I was gonna, but I wasn't gonna.
Bob,
A lot of chicks out there too.
B.O.B., huh?
Chuck grabbing chicks. I ain't gonna say nothing. We're gonna keep going. Let's keep going.
Don't let me talk about you now.
Yeah.
You was scared to drive around the corner. Don't let me talk about you, son.
I was.
All right, yeah, all right. No, hey,
But
Let it be,
I
let it
was.
be,
I
let it
was.
be.
hey. Oh, matter of fact, we're gonna tell that story. Hold up.
We can't wait. Well, let me
We gonna
finish.
tell that
Let
story.
me finish.
Talk about
so
the music, man. Talk
in
about
front
the
of
music.
in front of the station, so there's 20, 30 cars. I never seen nothing like it in my life.
Doggone caravan.
No.
it was the
it
violators
was
and
crazy.
associates.
It was crazy.
Yeah, but New York, I want to describe people.
It was crazy.
These are grown men with money and jewelry, acting like children. Like
Nah, man, we would
not
leave
y'all.
we would leave
Not
the
you.
radio and
Not
go to the
y'all.
club.
You not let me tell the story. Not them, not Red Chuck, but people like hanging out like I'm in awe, they're in awe. Now, the whole purpose of hanging out at the radio station when they came out was to possibly walk in with them at the club. I need to paint the picture.
Which was actually about 6 blocks away.
Yeah.
No, 8 blocks away.
Now, even though, Bugsy, we knew Chuck and he was our neighbor. We knew him. But we knew if we ain't catch this guy before he comes downstairs with
Forget
all
about
these
it.
40 people out there, we're
Forget about it.
finished.
You done. You
So we
done.
trying to catch Chuck when he's upstairs.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Now me,
Yo,
because
stupid.
I'm upstairs, it's at a point I worked my way into being Chuck's record boy. So people try to hit me prior to the house. Yo, I'm gonna come down there and meet you. And yo, bruh, you ain't meeting nothing. Because I'm getting in there by
Shut him down early.
I'm getting in there by myself.
And the crazy part on my behalf, because by the time I get to the club, the last two was either Big Rod or Ali. So when the rest of them try to get in, they just take a look at him and say, nah, bro. Nah, that ain't happening, bro. Nah, bro.
The entourages was crazy.
And
It's crazy.
New York
Crazy.
City, I've been to the Roxy, and I've been to all the different venues. There's not one venue in New York City that did hip hop that I did not go to. Maybe I might have missed Payday. That might have been a few because I had a night
Payday
job.
was mean.
I might have missed Payday, but I went to Roxy, I went to Latin Quarter, I went to Union Square, and all these things, New York, when I tell you what the city used to be built on, was such an amazing experience. Roxy was still a little bougie to me. It wasn't until
I met the world in there, son.
but it wasn't.
That spot.
But it wasn't.
Union,
It wasn't Latin Quarter.
Latin Quarter and Union.
Bro, I met the world in there.
Yes,
But
Latin Quarter and Union Square became more rugged.
that was rap. Those were rap clubs, and I tell you, what I liked about Union Square.
It might have been a little bougie, but you know what I mean? You had Madonna hanging out in there, Leon Kennedy.
That's what made it bougie.
You know what I mean? David
But they
Bowie.
weren't- they weren't-
David Bowie was hanging out in
It
there.
was a melting pot.
Yeah, it was
they
melting
weren't
pot
on-
for hip hop.
But
They
later
weren't a-
on, it became rugged.
But think about it, Red. We met Barry in there.
Yes,
We met Barry in there.
Well, you met Barry,
Me and you was there together.
but I already knew Barry.
You knew him then?
Yeah.
I know we were standing there together. He gave us the
Because
card.
remember, as I say, Barry came over to BAM, and when he came to BAM, that's how he got the Bob to go ahead after Jazzy.
Okay.
And first Islam, then Jazzy.
But I'm
him.
just-
But then here it is. He was always around.
Okay, but I'm just painting the picture. When me and you was standing there, he came over and he said, "Y'all want to put this on the radio?" And he gave us both the card.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. But I already knew him from
but
before.
I went to the Roxy, and I always felt when Madonna
A lot of chicks in there, bro.
and those people were in there,
Bob.
I didn't feel they were embracing the hip hop.
knocked
I
a
felt
few
that
down.
they were.
Bob.
Knocked a few down in there.
I felt they were looking
Bob to the Bob.
They were-
Ding, 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 ding.
when in those
Yeah.
places.
Woo.
Jelly Bean and Madonna
Friday night.
and Rick James was hanging out in there too.
Friday
right?
night.
They were in there, but they were also looking for what beats to put underneath their joints.
their
Yeah,
joints.
I didn't feel like they were like.
Herbie Hancock was in there too.
It wasn't really about the culture. They was just trying to catch a wave at the time they did.
Yeah, but that was
Latin Quarter and Union Square, I felt
was
R&B
different.
cats hung out,
People were living. They lived.
and
that.
they wanted to be
but that
into
was-
the culture.
Yeah, that was with Latin. Yeah, well,
But it was more
Right?
rugged
No?
because
Latin Quarter was the spot, for the real hood thing.
I like Union Square too. I like Union Square a lot. It was bigger and not as
And
warm,
then you remember we had Danceteria.
but I
too,
liked those.
and
I liked
remember,
that vibe.
Union Square only lasted 7 months.
It was something.
But it was an impact within them 7 months.
It was wild.
It was in New York. Let me tell you
But
something.
what I liked about the Roxy's was you had all kind of people coming in.
Correct. It was a
You know
it
what
was
I mean?
it was a good
From
bridge.
All walks of life was coming
Oh
through.
yeah, it was a melting pot.
You know
But
what I
when the
mean?
rap took
Rich,
over, when the
needed,
rap
everything was coming
took
through there.
over, none of those people in that club doubled back.
I'ma
Like
tell
when
you-
the rap took over, they wasn't as.
I'm gonna tell you
I
what
said
it
it
was
got
like.
rugged later on.
I'm gonna tell you what it
It was
was. I'm gonna tell you what it
embracing
was.
it.
Everybody that wanted to go to Latin Quarter, that was afraid to go to Latin Quarter, would wait and go to the Roxy because they felt safer.
And y'all leaving out
At that time, that's what it was.
y'all leaving
10-18.
out. Y'all leaving out the
10-18
y'all leaving out the fun house too. Y'all leaving the fun house.
Either they went there,
I like
or,
Funhouse.
or they went to Roseland to
Dropping
see
chairs, son.
Baby J.
Baby J.
Y'all
and
leaving out the fun house.
I saw you and
Me and Baby J battled for Roseland, and she hired him instead of me.
no, I didn't know
The
that.
Ginsburg chick, yeah, she hired him instead of me.
Ginsburg.
Yeah,
wow.
she hired him instead of me.
Mike
She told
Ginsburg.
me. No, she told me. She said you cut up too much for here.
I mean, you aggressive,
Yeah,
but that's
I
where the game was
hip-hop.
going.
Yeah.
But
But she had me and him playing there in front of her.
and
in
Bugs,
front of her.
I saw Chuck and I saw Red. I didn't know them yet at the Fun House.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what records was out. It was like, what's his name record was new? Dougie Fresh, the one he had on a Vincent record. But they're handing each other records. They're playing together.
He hated that record.
He-
Who was the promoter? Tiny Woods. Whatever happened to him?
Tiny Woods.
Wow, big tiny.
Whatever happened to him?
That was and
Tiny and
Yeah,
rest
we
in
played.
peace,
We
Chuck.
played there together. That's why we did play there. Rosa Run DMC there that night.
now I'm gonna tell you who was there. I'm gonna tell you, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Wow.
and it was the famous MCs.
guys.
I remember that night. You guys played the music prior.
And we wasn't
And
there.
Dougie. And Dougie.
And they had us out on the floor. They didn't have us in the booth.
Yeah, he was out on the floor.
Tiny Wood booked. He booked us that night. Yep. That was the last
For,
time.
for Chico Bucks.
But I was.
He said Chico Bucks. And
That was the last time I saw him too.
Rest in peace. Chuck Leonard was hosting the show.
That's what I say.
With the black leather
Tiny
pants
and
on.
Chuck was real close.
Yes. I had a but you know, a club back there in
That was
New
a great
York,
guy.
and we're talking. This is '85. Don't worry about how old I am. You can Google. So, but these are type of nights.
And if you're worried about how old he is, you should be so lucky.
Yeah, these are the type of nights where you could meet a girl, you can get beat up, you can get robbed, you can get cut, you can get hurt. Any one of those things can happen.
Or
that
you was
night.
going to the telly.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was all good.
Now, in the fun house, imagine a club that held like 3,000 people.
It was all good.
But over by the snack bar is where Brooklyn is beating people up. So people from Brooklyn are like, so if you were from the Bronx, and Bronx don't lie.
I forgot what DJ was playing in there. They was throwing bottles out up in there. I forgot who it was.
We don't have to bring that up.
No, I was when I saw that, I was like, wow.
Felix? Yeah, there was a guy in there.
Yeah, they threw bottles at him. I couldn't believe it. I
Now,
was
listen,
like, yo.
Since we are doing all this Union Square and Latin Quarter talk, let me situate my crate in that direction.
What you got in mind?
Come on, man. I want to hear Strong Island.
Oh, my boy, JVC Force.
Yeah, I want to hear some Strong Island.
You know who I used to enjoy on the microphone?
I want to hear some Ghost Stetzer.
You know who I used to enjoy on the microphone in Latin Quarter?
Ghost Stetzer.
When Melly Mel would get on the mic in the Latin Quarter.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
really used to enjoy.
Yeah, Mel was nuts.
Yeah, I really used to enjoy just his crowd control.
Oh, yeah,
And Busy B used to get on there, too.
Still got it to this day.
Yes,
You get on there also.
I did like that.
Big shout to Millie Mel.
Yes. Shout to him.
Grandmaster Cass. You know, I wanna apologize to you for one thing. You know,
What happened?
You know, we always argue and
Always
fight,
argue.
You know, about certain groups.
Yes.
Until I heard Run DMC, say to me that they took their style from Kool Crush. Right? Until I heard them say it, I didn't believe it. And you kept saying it, so I apologize. For once.
Well, they admitted it. They admitted it.
Yo, I heard them say it right in front of me.
Hey,
about 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
I
No, I'm
was-
joking. I'm joking.
So I was like, wow. Yeah,
What?
Joe Jackson,
Well,
where's my
Joe
link digital hoodie?
Jackson!
Where's my hoodie at, Joe?
Oh, Joe got fries?
Where's my hoodie at, Joe?
You see Kev Hunt
yeah.
see Kev Hunt in the back?
Yeah,
hanging
we
out?
see him.
You
Yeah, he got up in here. What's up with that?
Going in there now?
He snuck in. He snuck in.
Snuck in the building. What's up, son?
So, wait a minute. The Kool Crush brothers. Well, you know, now we got. You know what? I'm gonna come clean on something.
Yeah, but like I said, I had to apologize. We always argue.
I appreciate. We always.
because,
It's been
you know
an
what I
argument
mean?
for me and Chuck for 10 years and better. Maybe 15.
Because he's been telling me, I'm like, what are you talking about? Until I heard them say it, I was like, wow.
Well, you know that Kool Crush motivated so many people. I think that when you listen to Joe and D and you hear that call and response between the both, man, it's obvious.
But I was,
but Kool Crush had that singing.
you
and all
gotta
that
understand
down.
something.
But we be in the hallway screaming and Red be laughing.
Let me tell you something. In Kool Crush prime time, I used to see them being the headliners over recording artists. And they didn't even have a record out there.
It was.
Big shout to
They
Cass.
used to demolish the stage.
But I
Hey,
must,
look, I'm gonna go here.
For once,
I'm gonna go here with it.
For once you were right.
I'm gonna go here with it. It's like that was made off of Planet Rock.
Yes.
Yes. That
That's all
speed,
I'ma
that
go here.
energy.
So
Yes.
we're gonna give the Bronx that love. We're gonna give the Bronx love flex. Let you know there's no Queens, Bronx. I don't have a problem with that. We're gonna go there. We go there with that.
Sometimes when I'm on Bugsy on the phone, right? Like, because I'm talking, I always forget he's from Queens. I always
good
forget.
with it, though. I'm good
And
with
I'm
it,
just
'cause it's
talking
about the
music
culture.
with him.
It's about the culture.
So if I talk some Queen shit, Bugs get quiet on the phone. Right? And I forget. that
It's
he-
facts, though. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to debate about the facts.
he was always like that. Yeah, get it right.
Nah,
yeah.
here's-
I'm not arguing about the facts.
to the
facts is good.
to the Kool Crush brothers, and let's be specific, Grandmaster, because I need this intro of the group that I like, Grandmaster Kaz,
Absolutely.
JDL,
Yeah, they. Yeah.
Easy AD,
That's right, Tone.
and KG, the Almighty.
Yeah.
Charlie Chase and Tony Tone.
you was,
Yeah.
But that's the Kool Crush brothers, and
But see, the
Run
argument,
DMC.
the argument me and you had was you said they were better than the Funky Four.
I will argue
Yeah,
that
we-
with you
we
in
was-
1 minute, but I'm going to talk about the Kool Crush brothers right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, okay.
Talk on, bro.
Wait,
go
we're gonna
ahead.
go back
Go ahead,
now.
go ahead.
Run DMC. We should give them some credit,
Of course.
and I want to give some honest, classic
They
hip hop
pushed the
talk.
envelope.
You know, New York, Jersey, Connecticut. I'm gonna tell you, Run DMC is probably, and I will explain to you in a second, the most important rap group. And when I
Very
say
much.
important,
Very much.
important to the scene,
bro.
and
Very
more than
much.
anything.
Bro.
Reason being is
Bro.
because even though I'm a Cold Crush fan, and even though I liked Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, and I like Breakout and the Funky 4+1 more, a lot of those groups were kind of taking on the Rick James, how they look, how they dress.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
And it was cool because we liked it.
And plus, that was what it was. Whenever you were going to the stage, you had your
Yes.
street clothes, and then you had your stage clothes, and that's what we wore whenever you were on the
And-
stage.
But
That's
bro,
what it was.
And we liked
I
it.
was
From the bands
I
and
was
all
with
that.
them 2 weeks ago in Atlantic City. 7,000 people came to see them.
I want to say why they're most.
Crazy.
I want to tell you why Run DMC is so
Crazy.
important, and it's because I want to give my little love hate thing of what it is. I'm gonna keep honest, because sometimes I'm a Queens hater. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I am.
Wow.
So
But I never talk bad about the
nah,
Bronx.
sometimes I'm a hater.
Say what?
So with
I
Run,
never
say
talk
what?
bad about
so
the
with
Bronx.
Run, so
I had
hold
so
on.
much fun
With
in the
Run
Bronx.
DMC New York,
I never talk bad
they
about the Bronx.
they were the first group that wore on stage what they actually wore in the street.
Word up.
And what was so important is what Run DMC did. The game was dying and rap was dying, and people thought it was like disco. And before Run DMC came along, the stuff that they wore were what the street guys with money and muscle wore. And you couldn't wear your glasses, your sneakers, and your leather pea coat out without getting robbed. And the fact that they did that and brought that with the music gave the whole game a resurgence of
Yes,
energy.
it did. It did.
And so I do want to commend
Because
them
it was
on
at
that.
one point in time with a lot of the groups before them, they were playing they was making a lot of up-tempo songs, and it almost sounded like dance music in a sense.
Correct.
You know? So it was trickled. That's why I was able to fit in, but it was losing its street credibility.
But you know what? You know what? That's what makes the game, the culture so incredible, because we made those songs off of what was already out there. We didn't know
Correct.
that nobody knew what this game was going to be. We saw Motown come and go as kids. We saw Stax Records come and go as kids. We saw various artists come and go as kids in different music styles. So when the rhymes came, we didn't know how long it was going to be around or not. So folks were listening to the Curtis Blow Christmas Rappings when Larry and those guys and JB put that together. They made it off the idea of a James Brown song. And they didn't want to be James Brown because James Brown had gotten corny with the streets too in many respects around that time.
Correct. Yes, he wasn't making those
So
hard
when
soulful
that
records.
happened and so forth, when Larry and Russell and Roddy and those guys put together the Run DMC package, and they went where they went with it, it was different. A lot of people didn't understand it, especially at radio. Those program directors, those Pat Another Shoot program directors, didn't understand what that was. You know what I mean? And when
Correct.
it took off, everybody got on board.
Yeah, and I was a little, I don't want to say sour, but you know, with Def Jam, Tila Rock was from the Bronx, and then, you know, LL
Then they
kind
gave LL
of took
a
the
sound.
vibe,
Right.
And then with the Cold Crush being from the Bronx, and then and then Run to get the vibe. But you know what, Russell Simmons, you know, kind of saved the game. So thank God for him. And since we're talking Union Square and Latin Quarter, right? That's what we're talking.
Uh-huh.
Cold chillin', baby.
Oh, my God. This is my man right here.
Love the Kool V. Love to my dude
man.
right there, Bismarck, Molly Mall. This joint was produced by Mayor Koch.
New York City, when Red Alert was throwing this on in that Latin Quarter.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
Bugs,
Number, big up to
listen.
my man Bismarck. You know, Bismarck and I grew up in the same neighborhood. His brother and I, named Royal, we was in the same class. We lived in Colonial Projects, which is now called Ralph J. Rangel Houses, right behind the Polo Grounds. When Mark left, we used to call him Little Marky. I haven't seen him for a long time till when I came out there with Sparky D in Long Island, and he came out and called my government name. I like, who is this?
You remember we used to always say, you say, where's Biz from? He's from everywhere.
Yeah, he's from everywhere.
This is the same Bismarck that's an excellent DJ at this
Excellent
present time.
DJ, you know him for a little bit of everything.
He
Now,
played
Red,
at
what
the
year is
Adam
this?
Sandler. he
Oh,
played
that's
at Adam
definitely
Sandler movie
87
party.
right there. Because the
I
first
don't-
one was 86.
Now-
With the music.
now, this-
87
was
was,
there-
87.
Was there a record with bigger energy than this in the Latin Quarter? To me, this was always the biggest. Maybe Rebel
That's
Without a Pause.
one of them. This is one of them.
Rebel Without a Pause was big too.
That was big also.
Which else?
Of course, you know, Eric B.
Eric B for president.
And also... you know,
Now,
you got-
and Eric B was on. I Came in the Door was on the downslide, but Gotta Have Soul
It lifted
I
back
know
up.
you got soul.
was a
I know you got
beast in
soul.
there.
Right, I know you
Yeah,
got
But
soul.
I remember.
But Biz record, strong. And also, I used to play the Biz dance.
The Biz Dance.
I used to play that too.
And New York. Now listen, we're gonna get to the. I'm gonna play all the Union Square Latin Quarter songs right now. I commend Bismarck for a couple things. One is the first time in Union Square, Red Alert's playing, Shantae's performing, and Biz does the Biz dance and gets booed. Do you remember that night?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is what 80 what?
That was 86.
86.
Yeah.
By the time Latin Quarter comes around, and you play that Biz dance in there.
The whole entire place was doing the Biz
Lit up,
dance.
got lit.
Now,
It first started off with the IOU dancers, and everybody followed suit right behind them.
So Red plays the song, and I'm thinking it's gonna brick in the club because I remember seeing it in Union Square.
Yeah.
Right.
And I look, and the whole club is doing
From one
this
side to the
dance.
other.
And I'll tell you, people always say, "Oh, go to the Tunnel Flex, play the Tunnel joint." But my whole and shout to Jessica Rosenblum, Peter Gation, that allowed me to do my to figure out the thing. But my eyes were first in Union Square and Latin Quarter, and that's what kind of was the melting pot for me for the Tunnel. And it was key in making the Tunnel because I noticed in Union Square and Latin Quarter there was no VIP. I noticed the artists
None.
used to party with the people.
None.
And that was something that we made in going into
Everybody
Tunnel.
mingled together. Mike Tyson was mingling with people. Chris Rock was mingling with people. My man Haywood from What's Happening was mingling with people.
Yes.
Michael from Good Times was in there mingling with people. Everybody was all together amongst each other.
And it was always nice to see.
With
I
the, with-
remember.
with the real hood cats.
I remember key nights. I remember key nights in the Latin Quarter, New York, of people who didn't perform, but I always knew when they came in. I remember when Jam Master came in with all his jewelry. Something happened. He got his jewelry back.
That was Union Square.
That was Union Square.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
And
no. First it was Latin Quarter.
That was Latin Quarter,
That
right?
was Latin Quarter first.
And then-
that was on a Celebrity Tuesday.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I remember Slick Rick. I'll tell you something that I always used to watch, and we're talking about classic nightclubs in New York. So, when Run DMC and all the big guys went on tour, is really when Kane and Biz and
That's
Eric B and
the
Rakim
next-
started
the next
to come.
wave. That was the next wave.
88,
I
right?
remember Slick
87,
Rick
88.
coming in Latin Quarter with all his jewelry, and he stood in the booth with you, and he's watching the records ring off, and I see him hitting you and looking over your shoulder because he wants to see who they are, because he didn't really know.
Right.
And then I remember DMC coming in, and his eyes getting big because he's looking. Their records weren't playing in the club at the time.
Nah,
Like Run and Fat Boys.
They started
and-
to fade.
Yeah, it was like a small transition. They came back with stuff later.
They did, they
changed the
did.
sound up,
But
right.
But it
You
was
know-
a change of the guards that time. They was ready for a new sound.
But New York, Jersey, Connecticut, Latin Quarter, and Kiss FM is what I wanted to model myself after. It's with Tunnel and on 97 because I saw what that connection was. But in that club, man, to see all those celebrities when I was a kid was like it was amazing, man. I
Everybody
know
was
to
doing
your guys it was every day.
Hey, we was around each other like it was the norm.
It was the norm. It was the
That's all
norm.
what it was.
You saw people coming up, like the actors and the other artists coming up as they were getting started.
Man,
You know
there's
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying?
actors that that became stars later on, like homegirl Melinda Williams.
I feel like
and,
Chris Rock used to come in there, didn't he? I remember Chris Rock.
I think
through
Chris
there.
Rock. He used to come in there. There was quite a few people who used to
You-
always
you-
come in
you
there.
forgot he
Payne,
came.
my man Payne.
You forgot he came to my birthday party in the Starters Ballroom.
EBMD.
No, Chris, he was there that night.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah, he was
remember.
there that night.
The Stardust Ballroom.
Right.
There was a place in Queens I really liked.
Encores.
Encore.
Where the library is.
Oh, a lot of women was in there too, boy.
Yo,
Love the Pat Smackers.
Yo, I remember the first time.
Lot going on out there.
The first time I was going to
Came Mysteries.
hey,
Right across the street
rest-
from the bus terminal, Jamaica bus terminal.
Rest in peace of my ex at the time who I was seeing. But when the first time I had to go to Encore, and I said, yo, how is Encore? They looked at me dead in my face, say, don't bring your girl.
Yeah.
Just like that. Don't bring your girl.
It was Queens.
I had no idea.
It was Southside and everybody.
So
I had a ball in there.
I'm gonna play these joints,
I had a ball.
and I'm gonna let Bugsy and Red and Chuck narrate. But I'm gonna play these Union Square mashes. This one preferably was definitely one for mine. But we gonna play. And we gonna go. Let's go.
Okay? Once again, this is Hot 97, everybody. Chuck Chillout, Bugsy, Funk Flex. It's the redhead one, okay? We hope that you're enjoying it. Remember, we're going all the way to the stroke of 12. We started off at 5. We got a whole lot more to go, okay? We hope that you're enjoying it for the time being. Hey, big up to my boys from down there in Virginia. I know they on the check-in. Talking about my man DJ B. Talking about my man Mike Richardson. My man, we call him, Rico. And my man Marcus. And everybody else I'll be down there. Mustafa and all of them. I know they checking out just as well, okay?
Hard.
Funk Flex.
Yes, y'all to the like beat. Yes, y'all to the like beat. Yes, y'all to the like beat. You could either dance or just have a seat. And yes, y'all to the like beat. You could either dance or just have a seat. And yes, y'all to the like beat. You could either dance or just have a seat. And yes, y'all to the like beat. You could either dance or just. Yes, y'all to the like beat. You could either dance or just have a seat and listen to the way-in. What I am displaying, a different kind of rapper language that I am saying. To all the party people, let it go, but info. When it come to rockin' parties, I am a nympho.
Yes.
Brainiac for doing my dancing. My record make the music, we'll put you in a trance.
Big shout to the Bismarcky. Cold Chillin' Records. What up, Fly Tie?
Yours truly, I'm the original B.I.Z. Okay, I was the E and
Ah.
the M to have fun and not be number one. And just here to let you know who's like running the place and everywhere that I perform and do a show. As long as you know.
Sing along now.
Oh. Here we go.
Nobody beat.
What?
Nobody beat the biz. Nobody.
Yeah, this song here was a problem.
Oh, you used to set off Union
This
Square.
record was a problem.
Every time I play this in Union Square,
record was
it
a
set
problem.
everything off.
This record was a problem. This record was a big
my
problem.
God. Joe Jackson!
Word up. This record was a problem.
Oh, man. And you know, this was a B-side. The A-side was called On Fire. So then I went to the B-side, and I played this. Yeah,
That was a B-side?
This was a B-side, my brother.
I don't know.
That's right.
My version was A-side.
This is the first original hip-hop band. Not the Roots. I'm talking about these guys from out there in BK,
The
Brooklyn,
Roots didn't
all right?
get played in New York. Ah!
You know the
Have
song,
some
sing
fun.
along.
Check the pedigree of the band that spell S-T-E-T. The rhyme orator, present to you our new invention.
We regulate our steps, our fluxure. So deaf, listen to the structure. Formulate your own, but please don't touch her.
Yes.
You're looking out, we thank you very much.
Oh.
Heed this style on the court, will nut you. To the end, I bet we'll bust you up. And you bump into a fourth.
Ooh. Now listen. It's heavy Brooklyn. You had to hold on to all your jewelry when that was on.
That was a set off in Union Square that year. That was a set off.
He's stupid. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, there was certain records you was getting robbed, so that was one of them.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
You know,
So,
you know,
That was
Eric,
a record.
Eric B for president, new raps generation.
so
he was getting robbed.
if we're gonna stay at Union Square for a second,
Ooh, that was hard.
My man.
was hard.
My
That was
man.
hard.
Me and T-Ski, we about to go into a frenzy. I know she listening right now. Yo, can you please let that go?
let me tell you something.
Can you please let
This
that go?
next record I'm gonna play, it never played before 11 o'clock on the radio. I don't think you could buy it at the store.
Aaron Fuchs.
Now, rest in peace to Pumpkin.
Didn't pay nobody.
You know Pumpkin played the drums on this.
Yeah, I know.
And so
Robbed all his artists.
So Red, you know, Chuck had this tape because he knew Pumpkin
Okay.
in his car for like, I don't know, months.
Say that again?
You had this song because Pumpkin, I don't Pumpkin, they'd given it to you.
Yeah, he lived next door to Vincent. He lived
Yeah,
a block from me.
way
yeah.
before it came out.
Yeah,
But,
word.
but the record didn't, it was a little different. It didn't bubble yet.
And it wasn't playing every day. It was going to be
Yeah,
a weekend record.
rare, right?
Right.
Now, if you're from Brooklyn, this was a song right here that it excited Brooklyn. But if you were from the Bronx and Queens, you backed up because you didn't want Brooklyn to rob you because it's key. And if you were from the Bronx, you didn't utter a word that you were from the Bronx. You said you were from Brooklyn or you were from Queens.
Or you said nothing at all.
Oh, you said nothing at all.
You just stood next to your people from Brooklyn and
So
shut
you
up.
need to understand this record right here as we go back.
Crazy.
Best style,
Crazy.
best style, gotta be that a kid in the park.
Come on.
Man.
Hey, yo, this is the Mr. Magic joint right here.
Check out the machine gun. Check out the machine gun.
This is that Mr. Magic joint right here, y'all.
Gotta be that a kid in
Do or die, bed style.
I'm gonna show you how Red used to cut it in the Union Square.
the park.
Big up to my man Freddie B.
Gotta be that a kid in the park.
Big up to my man the 190. That's right. 190. Chris Rock and Freddie B used to live on the same block.
Bed style.
Woo! Ha ha!
It's like that, y'all. It's like that, y'all. It's like that, y'all.
Nasty. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. In this corner, all the sucker MCs. In this corner, the rated worldwide rapping champions of the world, the Money Mike Masters.
Yo, this was so hard.
You gotta understand, man. When that record came on,
This was so hard back
it was
then,
mean at the
bro. You
time.
introduced me to Freddie B.
Yeah.
Someplace. We were someplace, and you
Oh, yeah,
introduced me to him.
recently, yeah. Freddie
So-
B, good dude, good dude.
We're gonna let this rock. This is a Union Square classic
No doubt about it.
from no place else but Union Square. Union Square was a club, hold 2,500. It was on what street? 14th Street?
No. It was like 17th Street, right across the street from the Paragon Sporting Goods shop.
And it became like Herman's or something.
No, it's Petco's Pet Store. Petco.
DJs always remember what a nightclub becomes because we just want to remember. But this right here in New
Nuts.
York, crazy.
Nuts.
Wow.